And this freaking square, when I start going live, still pops up. I just uninstalled and reinstalled my graphics card, and the square keeps popping up and stays popped up the entire time I'm doing my live stream. I don't know what it is, but as it is extremely annoying. This card, and it shows in the recording too, keeps popping up. So that's cool, and stays pop.
Okay.
Excuse me. Live. Yeah. So the square shows in the live stream, and there's nothing I can do about this particular issue. I just uninstalled and reinstalled the graphics card, just in case that might have been a problem. And nope, still causing an issue. So the only workaround I can think about this is to use like OBS or something like that. Which means I'm gonna have to learn window capture. Yay! So now my encoder's down, and I can no longer use that. So YouTube exclusive content's gonna have to go through OBS. This sucks. Between the hours and hours of time I've sunk in trying to get in Double Agent running on a version that's inferior to its predecessor. The people that make Chaos 3 made version 1, and I'm playing version 2, which is the Xbox One, you know, PS3 super version, and it's worse. Apparently they were made by different companies. Like I said, the Chaos Theory people made the version 1, which is superior. It has day and night missions, it has higher graphics, it has everything. It's flawless. When I bought the pack for all of this, it apparently gave me version 2. Version 2 is heavily buggy. All missions are night missions instead of having any type of day mission, so that aspect of the game that I used to love when I played the game in the past, the day stealth missions, that generally had no shadows, you just kinda had to sneak around and do things, you know, uniquely. You had to use objects and go back and forth as opposed to just being able to walk through an area that's dark. So that aspect of the game is unfortunately lost. And essentially, I'm gonna have to run the controller emulator too, because, well, it doesn't support 360 versions because it's the Xbox One and PlayStation 3 version. So I'm essentially back to the same way I was playing Chaos Theory, but with more bugs. It's gonna crash between every cutscene like it did in Chaos Theory. It's gonna crash after every mission. All of that's essentially going to carry over to Double Agent. And there's nothing I can do about it. I've tried looking into ways to patch it from version 2 back down to version 1. It doesn't seem like that's possible, even though it's the same game but made by two different people. Apparently, because they were made for different consoles, it's not, you know, the same game. Like internally, it's different engines and everything like that. So I would have to go and buy the older version, which means I'm going to have to use some sort of emulator for an Xbox 360 or PlayStation or whichever way I decide to go in order to download or to buy and download that game. Which is crazy. I mean, it's worth it for the superior game and then I have to worry about all of these bugs. But what I'm in the middle of now doing is I am downloading all the bug fixes, patches, and things like that to make it pseudo-playable. Unfortunately, even if I do update and try to fix half the crap, it's still going to be largely buggy. There's going to be parts on missions that I have to just generally restart the entire thing because an enemy will get stuck in the door or something dumb or something else would happen. I mean, this goes very well with the Scuff Cells playthrough that I've been doing thus far, so I mean, it's kind of par for the course. But, yeah. I wasn't a super huge fan of Double Agent from the start. I mean, yeah, it's unique and, you know, things are a lot funner back in the past, but, you mean, it essentially, this newer version 2 takes all the aspects that I didn't like of the game and then amps it up. So, you know, all of the, or more of the open world environments that you get, you know, like the Chaos Theory style play, is going to be gone, and it's going to be more linear. It's going to have more cutscenes, more things like that, and the story isn't going to be 100% canon from this game to the next game. So there's going to be some differences and some inaccuracies and things like that. The old version from Chaos Theory, which I mean they are the, you know, the team that worked on Chaos Theory to Double Agent, so you know they're writing the story, is the more canon version. I do recommend you look up Double Agent and don't particularly go off of what you see in this game. I'm also 2 missions down as well on this new version. In the old version, there is 2 bonus missions. One bonus mission, you escape from a bunker that you were being held in. And then the second bonus mission, you actually rescue Sarah from a shipping container. Your daughter, Sarah Fisher, your daughter. You rescue her from a shipping container because she just randomly got kidnapped. She was just in the right place at the wrong time. And Sam goes on a mission to save her. Of course, she doesn't know what he does all the way, so he has to act like, you know, he's just some random, you know, average Joe. And he asks her questions like, you know, are you doing fine? Are you fine? You know, are you hurt? Anything like that. And then he goes on her way after assuring her safety. She is then picked up by another cell and returned back safely. And all of this happens before the game, actually. Well, no, I think it happens after the game. Canon-wise, it happens before the game started, but after the game, the bonus missions unlock. Might be at the beginning, I don't particularly remember where. But I figure I would take the time to just explain all of this and the ever-increasing issues that I'm having with Double Agent. It's a unique spin on the game, so I don't necessarily want to straight up just skip the entirety of the line. Like, I mean, skipping Pandora tomorrow isn't that big of a deal. It's not super relative to the actual story. It kind of just builds Sam up in his repertoire. But I mean, Chaos Theory does a very good job of establishing base level Sam than Pandora tomorrow ever does. The problem, and I didn't want to play Pandora tomorrow anyway, so it's kind of a plus for me, but the problem with Pandora tomorrow is the stealth on the particular game is brutal, and they also just paint enemies along your path. And since it's the first game, there wasn't any, you know, enhanced and multiple different paths that you can take. which is what makes Chaos Theory really shine. Chaos Theory gives you multiple ways to go, things like that. Pandora Tomorrow kind of gives you a path. I mean, you can climb up on, rafters and go across, or climb across the pole, but it's all generally in the same area. You can't just circumvent an entire area by taking a crawl space, like in Chaos Theory. It's very linear, but getting through the rooms, the particular rooms, you have generally like two options, sometimes, instead of getting through the entire mission. You have multiple options. So it's very brutal on the stealth too. Some missions, if an enemy so much as sneezes in your direction, it's mission failed. Again, towards the end of the game, Pandora Tomorrow actually becomes fun to play, because you hear that leash that you generally have throughout the game is gone. So it becomes extremely fun to play, like mid to end game. Starting off, it's just way too brutal. Oh, you see a light up there, you shoot the light, mission failed. The enemy hears you shoot something, hears you step, mission failed. And there's just a whole bunch of different issues that turns me away from Pandora Tomorrow. It's not a bad game by any means, it's just that it's extremely difficult. If I had to say it, I'd probably say Pandora Tomorrow is the hardest game, because you're limited in what you can do, and there's a lot of enemies, and it really relies on stealth, especially towards the beginning. So yeah, I'd say Pandora Tomorrow is probably the hardest Splinter Cell game. And that's just due to enemies being everywhere in your path, and it focusing on hardcore stealth as opposed to the espionage factor. If you get caught in the other Splinter Cell games, it's not that big of a deal, unless it's a 100% stealth part. But again, it's a part, not the entire game. Double Agent just becomes slow, especially with this new version, which makes the game even slower. It becomes very slow, very stale, and very methodical. I'm going to give you the overview of the game, which you can see from Steam. You're essentially going undercover in a enemy terrorist organization. You are going in, you're trying to gain their trust and all of that, and you're trying to find out what they're trying to do, sabotage it, put an end to their plan, and then, arrest and or neutralize whatever they're trying to do in all of them. So the game gives you choices on, decisions during the game on how you want to play it, and it involves like a butterfly effect somewhat. I mean, yeah, it's a butterfly effect. Depending on the actions you take, affects everything from your basic gameplay to how much access you have to gear and things like that. Like in Chaos Theory, you select if you want to go in assault gear or you want to go a stealth gear. In Double Agent, your particular play style and the mission objectives that you complete and things like that determine what kind of gear you get to bring on to your next mission. So essentially, if you're gung-ho and you just want to, go out there and do whatever you want, you'll get more of an assault build. If you're methodical and you like completing objectives and all of that, then you'll get more of a stealth build. Keep in mind, you can screw yourself over if you just flatline to an objective and then start completing things back to back to back to back. You're going to have a lot of issues So this game tries to, and that's the thing that I don't like about the game, is the game tries to force you to slow down and play that long con game when you don't necessarily want to. You know, you're ready to play missions, get through, and have a fun time, and the game's like, no, you're undercover. You need to do the undercover aspect of the game. Then we can go and have fun and do all of that. And it's like, no, bro, I just want to go. So I think the game has the same amount of missions as Chaos Theory. I think it's like 9 or something like that, minus the bonus missions and all of that. And from those 9 missions, they're all stretched out. You don't go from mission to mission in this game. It's all about the story. This entire game is about the story. Where Chaos Theory, I mean, it has a story, but it's more focused around gameplay. You can play Chaos Theory and not know what's going on and still have a fun time just sneaking through. Double Agent, they want you to know the story, and this story transfers directly to Conviction, the next game. So if you don't know what's going on in this game, at least canon to Sam's story, it won't make sense next game what's going on or anything afterwards. So either way, this is your stream update. I'm going to try to do a Dead by Daylight review. I'm just going to have to go through OBS and just turn Twitch side off. And I'm going to have to learn window capture. So I'm going to be taking an extra long amount of time trying to figure out how to properly window capture and things like that. That's why I didn't use OBS in the past, is because it's like the manual system. Streamlabs was very good when it came to things like that. You know, you pick a theme, bam, it automatically sets everything up for you. You just add whatever you want to it. It makes it extremely easy assets wise. But then you go to OBS and then it's like, man, I'm stuck on my own. I gotta do it all manually. I mean, there are some websites that you can download add-ons and things like that for, but I mean, Streamlabs, they all came preloaded. I just went in, clicked the button, it was all set up for me. So this is where we're at now. So figured I would just make an update midwise before I started my Dead by Daylight reviews and things like that, so I didn't have to spend like an hour explaining things before the actual Dead by Daylight review, and I can just hop into it. Like I said, Splinter Cell Double Agent, I might screw myself doing it, but I'm not gonna speed run the game, but I'm also not gonna spend an absurd amount of time trying to 100% the game, if that makes sense. So there you go. It's all laid out there for you. I think that's basically the only thing I want to say about the particular subject. And it looks like my crap just froze anyway. So now I need to check my video to make sure it even got anything that I just said. There for you. I think that's basically the only thing I want to say about the particular subject. And it looks like my crap just froze anyway. So now I need to check my video to make sure it even got anything that I just said. Alright, well, there for you. It did pick it up, it's just that it's not responding, so I can't even end stream even if I want to.